This video will be part one of a 2 or 3 part series that takes a look at the biblical cosmology of the Bible, which is called geocentrism, or better known as flat earth. I ask everyone to watch with an open mind and to forget all the predictive programming that the media use that ridicules a flat earth belief. First of all, we are not a flat piece of earth or rock floating in space. We are stationary. There is no edge that ships sail off either, as you will see in this video. Now, rather than believe that this is an impossible idea, instead wonder why there is so much effort to discredit flat earth and why there are places like YouTube shutting down channels and removing videos that speak of it. What are they trying to hide? Enjoy the video.
How fast are you moving right now? You might be thinking, I'm not moving, I'm sitting here watching this video. And that's true if you're measuring your speed relative to, say, the chair you're sitting in. But what about relative to the rest of the universe? As we know, it takes the Earth about 24 hours to complete a rotation. The circumference of the Earth is about 25,000 miles, so if you live at the equator, you're spinning at over 1,000 miles per hour. And we're just getting started. We also know that it takes the Earth roughly 365 days to orbit the Sun. The total trip is almost 600 million miles, which means the Earth is circling at over 66,000 miles per hour. And the Sun is also moving towards other stars in the galaxy and bringing us along at about 43,000 miles per hour. At the same time, it's moving upwards relative to the Milky Way plane at over 15,000 miles per hour. In addition to all that, the Sun orbits the center of the Milky Way once every 225 million years, moving at 483,000 miles per hour to make the trip. All things considered, we're moving at about 540,000 miles per hour as a solar system. And on top of all of that, the Milky Way is shooting through the universe. If we measure the galaxy's speed relative to cosmic background radiation from the Big Bang, we find it's traveling at an incredible 1.3 million miles an hour. So you're moving on Earth, the Earth is moving around the Sun is moving around the galaxy, and the entire galaxy is moving around the universe at a combined speed of over 1.9 million miles an hour, or 530 miles every second. That means that in the time you've been watching this video, you've traveled over 60,000 miles through space.
So they expect us to believe that in 2 minutes we travel over 60,000 miles through space and that the Earth is spinning at 4 ridiculous, impossible speeds and we don't feel any movement whatsoever. If you were to ride on a kid's roundabout in a playground that averages 4 miles an hour, do you not think you would feel it if someone pushed it faster? If you were in a car at 30 miles an hour and you had your eyes shut and the driver accelerated, you would feel that acceleration in that car. So why do we not feel the acceleration of the Earth going through all these different speeds? So these are questions that we all need to be asking, because these scientists want to tell us that we are travelling at over 1.9 million miles per hour, and again, we don't feel any movement whatsoever. The question is do you believe that? So let's take a minute to think about what we are actually told about the shape of our Earth. From as early as we can remember, we're indoctrinated at school and in society to believe in what they call the heliocentric theory, which is where we live on a globe and are spinning and hurling through an endless galaxy at impossible speeds, and we don't feel any of this movement. We are taught about rockets and astronauts and spaceships, planets, and that man walked on the moon. But what we really need to start doing is to start testing all these concepts, because what I will show in the next part of this series is that the moon landing didn't happen, and it is all part of the bigger deception to keep you from knowing the true reason for your existence and how you came to be in the first place. They have hidden our Creator, and it's time we removed the lies and lifted the veil and reconnected with Him again. Another deception that we see is the theory of gravity. Notice also that all these things are called theories, which means they are not facts like they tell us in all the textbooks. So they say gravity holds us to the earth, and anything that has a mass also has gravity, and that's what makes it fall. Now I propose that anything that is heavier than air falls, and anything lighter than air rises. So they also tell us that gravity holds water to this spinning ball that we live on. Now there is apparently 1.36 billion tonnes of water on this earth, and it covers approximately 75% of the earth. If we look at a spinning ball with water on it, this is what we see. Also, what happens when your washing machine is on a spin cycle? Water flies off. What I also find amazing is that gravity is so powerful, they say, that it can hold 1.36 billion tonnes of water to the earth, but it can't hold a butterfly or a bee or stop them from taking off. It can't stop balloons floating or smoke and steam rising up. So there are plenty of other examples of things like this, but we really need to get back to where the globe Earth and the Big Bang Theory originated, and who was pushing this and the reasons behind it. So who was behind this? Basically, long story short, it's the Roman Catholic Church. But they basically brought in Nicholas Copernicus, who was a Catholic astronomer, and he formulated the theory that it was the sun at the centre of the universe, unlike geocentrism that has been and was believed thousands of years ago by many of the ancient civilization, is that the earth is flat, and that the earth is the centre of creation, and that the sun and moon revolve above our heads and are not thousands of millions of miles away like scientists claim today. Now, because of what happened in the Reformation between the Catholic and Protestants, which I can't go into in this video, the Roman Catholic Church were losing many over to Martin Luther, who was a whole Bible believer. And he would have also understood that the Bible teaches a flat earth creation model, which they would not have liked. Now, because people were coming away from the Roman Catholic Church, they created the Counter-Reformation, which basically was to discredit the Bible. So they brought in Nicholas Copernicus and like-minded people to do just that, and say that it is the earth and moon that revolve around the sun, and not the sun and moon that revolve above the earth. This discrediting of the Bible and Counter-Reformation was then continued by Georges Lemaitre, who was a Belgian Catholic priest and astronomer, and the author of the Big Bang Theory, that basically makes everyone believe there is no creator.
The universe is everything, from the tiniest particles to the largest galaxies to the very existence of space, time, and life. But how did it all begin? The origin of the universe is the origin of everything. Multiple scientific theories, plus creation myths from around the world, have tried to explain its mysterious genesis. However, the most widely accepted explanation is the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory states that the universe began as a hot and infinitely dense point. Only a few millimeters wide, it was similar to a supercharged black hole. About 13.7 billion years ago, this tiny singularity violently exploded. And it is from this explosion, this bang, that all matter, energy, space, and time were created.
So as you saw in that video, we apparently came into existence by a massive explosion that they called a Big Bang. Now I don't know about you, but every explosion I've ever seen causes absolute destruction and not perfect order. So what is the geocentric model, also known as flat Earth, that was known and believed thousands of years ago? It is a flat, stationary, non-rotating Earth where the sun, moon and stars rotate above us and has what the Bible calls a firmament or a dome that covers us. The location where this dome meets the Earth is Antarctica, and that is also where the Great Ice Wall is that keeps all the oceans in and encompasses our entire Earth. This is where we are introduced to Admiral Richard E. Byrd, who was an American naval officer and explorer who in 1946 carried out an expedition named Operation High Jump, where it is said that he discovered the Great Ice Wall and land that had never been seen by another human before.
You know, only 60 or more years ago, about 35 years ago, our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this Earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
This is a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Now, he carried out more expeditions, and then on December 1st, 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was signed by 12 countries and prohibited anyone from exploring the area. So what are they hiding, and what did Admiral Byrd find?
And here is our journey's end. At length we sighted that great natural phenomenon, the ice barrier.
So there has been people that have obviously tried to go there and go against the Antarctic Treaty, but anyone who has attempted to go unaccompanied has been escorted away, arrested and even fined.
And I knew from the treaty that the UN had strictly forbidden Antarctica from being explored and exploited. Was there a message in this? I started digging, and then I realized that not only did the United Nations have this logo, but also the International Maritime Organization, the International Civil Aviation Organization, and the World Health Organization. The Maritime Organization polices the seas, and the Aviation Organization polices the skies. The World Health Organization controls all health and disease communications and guidance for the world, much like it has during the COVID-19 pandemic. Did the UN's military really police Antarctica with the maritime and aviation, or is it just an arbitrary treaty honouring the last unspoiled place on Earth?
Hey, just a Navy destroyer. He will yield. He'd be thinking, that cheeky better not cross my bow. Yeah. Stop, Josh. They take it seriously.
What did they say?
You got to yield. You can't just fucking. They think you're going to charge them.
We don't know for sure, but they did some incidents. No, they did. Say come back last call. Yeah, fucking talk to them.
Actually going around. He's turning. Stop. He's turning. He is actually turning.
He said we had to shoot yesterday.
No, he is turning. Fucking hell, what have we done now? It's turning, Josh. Just sit still.
He's slowed down, has he?
Yeah, he's really slowed down. No doubt we were in trouble.
What for?
It's coming to us.
He's coming to us.
He's got the shits because...
By Port Bow, this is Warship Hobart, channel 16, over.
16.
Yeah.
Exclusion area, please report your intention.
Oh, who the fuck's that?
We're heading to the shelf to go...
So we're out fishing, heading out fishing. No, we're just heading out fishing.
He's out, boys. They get
Going that way.
just traversing.
Set up a demo today with this Cessna and the Air National Guard. I'm going to be inside of this Cessna, and we're going to be going rogue. We're going to fly into that no-fly zone, and we're going to see how the Air National Guard does it. They scramble the fighter jets to come
Take off. We're off.
flying for miles and miles until...
Okay, we've just entered the no-fly zone now.
Our pilots aren't talking to air traffic control, ignoring their calls to reach them. That triggers an alarm at the Air National Guard base. These fighter pilots scrambling to their jets. They're on alert and ready to take action 24 hours a day. Today, racing to their F-16s, suiting up, climbing on board, and rushing to the runway. Taking off to intercept our rogue Cessna. Reaching the target in just minutes. This is the view from the F-16. That's my Cessna right there.
Intimidating as you would think it would be. Look at that fighter jet. He's right off our wing.
Another F-16 swooping in on the right, calling us on aviation frequencies.
You have been intercepted. If you hear this transmission, acknowledge the radio call and rock your wings.
He wants us to identify ourselves. We're a rogue aircraft, remember, for this demonstration, so we're not going to respond at all and see what this fighter
You
jet
are ordered to turn to the northwest.
The fighter jet giving us one last warning. After all of this, the pilots still won't listen. The plane won't leave the airspace. Will you shoot them down?
If required, we'll execute the rules of engagement per the commander of the North American Aerospace Defense Command. And yes, we would do that.
Shoot the plane down.
If it meets the rules of engagement, yes, we would, to defend the airspace.
Why are they policing the parameters of Antarctica in such a vigilant way? Surely they are just protecting the penguins and seals that we've seen so often in Planet Earth and Frozen Planet documentaries. I don't know, I'm not too sure anymore, because after I stumbled across this. A giant ice wall, stretching for what seems to be hundreds and hundreds of miles.
So, in regards to education of the geocentric model, is there anyone who remembers being taught something other than the globe Earth spinning ball theory that dominates us today?
Ruth Heath.
Ruth, and how old are you today?
102.
102. So you were born in
1918.
1918. And we were just talking, and I asked you what shape the Earth is, and what did you say? What were you taught in school in elementary school?
I was taught in school that the Earth was flat.
So people always ask, what difference does it make?
What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Yeah, that's their favorite line. Got a lot of people, what difference does it make? You can't figure out what difference it makes? If you can't figure out what difference it makes that the people running your world are lying to you over and over your whole life, if you can't figure out that someone lying to you is trying to control you, suppressing of information, of knowledge, is control. Deception of information and knowledge is a form of control. So what difference does it make? It makes a big difference, because once they start omitting information or lying about information about where you live, they're doing it to control you, period. Why am I having to explain this to critical thinkers in the truth movement? The way you control billions of people is to keep them divided and fighting each other. Flat Earth is not a psyop. Flat Earth destroys the psyop. Every psyop that's been used to control us for as long as they've known about it. So this system has been in power and control for hundreds of years, ever since they convinced the rest of the world that they didn't know where they live. It created this fantastical scenario to make people feel insignificant and to follow those that appear to know better. Why is the flat Earth so important? Because it shows the deception. And if everybody would just come together and demand answers, they would be in checkmate. They would not know what to do.